Welcome back, everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. Today we're here with a Starcraft 2 1 versus 1, except this time it's actually 1 versus 1 Archon mode. So we've actually got 4 players in this game right now, 4 Grandmaster players at that. So, spawning down in the bottom right-hand side of the map, usually with these player intros it's just one person, but this time it's actually Semper and Poizon playing as the purple Protoss here. And spawning up in the top left-hand side of the map, Frozen Temple. That is the map we are playing on. It is Cuddlebear and Hjax? We'll just go with, I'll probably just end up going with Team Purple and Team Green. Anyway, their names are down there. So, we've got ourselves a Zerg versus Protoss. Now, as far as I'm aware, Semper is a Terran player, and I believe Cuddlebear is a Zerg player. So both these, well, I'm sure both these teams are very good, but some of these players may be out of their element. Like, for example, Semper's probably going to be doing some of the, I guess, more macro-oriented tasks, whereas I assume Poizon, who's the Protoss player, will be doing more of the race-specific stuff. Anyway, so for the green team, we actually have a hatch first going into that standard pool. No gas as of yet, and we actually have the purple team harassing with a probe here right now. He's trying to deny as much mining as he can by messing with that drone AI. Now, that's sort of a thing that wouldn't be done as often. Go away, he says. That wouldn't be done as often in a normal 1 versus 1, because right now one of the players is likely just controlling this probe. I assume that's probably Semper, whereas the other's actually macroing up, building up their base. And now we actually have a 2-gate opening coming out of Semper and Poizon here, getting out one Zealot to complete that wall off, and then we'll see what they're going for next. But for the green team, we actually have a third hatchery coming down already, so very quick, no gas, fast third hatchery, playing it very, very greedy here. And it's likely that Semper / Poizon will sort of catch on to this, because they saw there was no gas. So they just really need to go to that third base and see it. They might not actually see it. That probe's sort of busy harassing drones here, but it seems like it is going to get out of there. Will we check the third base first, though? Nope, just going to go back. So that third base is going to remain unscouted. And now we actually have 2 adepts. Let's bring up the production tab there. Sort of forgot about that. Right now we have 2 adepts coming out here, not being followed up by any other adepts. So these 2 adepts are likely going to move across the map, possibly try to pick off drones here. However, green team is just making lots of Zerglings. They're going to rely on queens to deal with this. They don't have Zergling speed on the way. They don't even have any gas yet. So it is going to be up to these slowlings to catch and kill these adepts. The adepts going to try to pick off as many as they can, but they have gotten surrounded by that shade. Is going to allow them to escape. One of them might go down before the shade completes, and yes, it does. So one of the adepts gets confirmation on the third base, but gets a few Zergling kills, but not actually much getting done there. Now, if we recall from the start of this game, purple team actually went for this fast 2-gate opening as opposed to getting a nexus, so their expansion's pretty late. And with the third base already up for green team's going to be in a very good economic position here. That adept sending in a shade, getting confirmation, now running for its life here. Running from these lings. These lings don't have Zergling speed anywhere in sight, so the adept can actually run away. It's not as quick as the Zerglings, but it can actually not get caught as easily. These lings get a camp out, make sure there's no fast third nexus coming out of purple team here. The mothership core is going to push these lings away. Once again, sort of another thing that wouldn't really happen in a non-Archon mode game. And we've got a bit of a semi-Noah's Ark going on here. One Stalker, 1 Zealot, 1 Sentry, and 1 Adept, and I guess 1 Mothership Core. So those are all the units for purple team right now. Just walling off, getting up a few more gateways here. Already has a Stargate out and on the way, getting an Oracle. Now, an Oracle's a great unit for Archon mode, as Oracles are one of the units which gets so much damage done if microed correctly, and if there's one player who's if one of the 2 players on purple team is just looking after that Oracle specifically, it should be able to get great damage done. However, Green team isn't really taking any chances here. Getting up 2 spore crawlers, 3 queens at the other base, even another spore. So they are playing it safe here. And now we're seeing a Roach Warren and Burrow on the way for a green team. There's no lair, so it's not going to be tunneling claws, so the roaches won't be able to move while burrowed, but they may try to go for some sort of harassment here with these burrowed roaches. Maybe try to burrow a unit at the 3rd base. As a matter of fact, though, the 3rd base is already going up here. So purple team not going for a big all-in or anything, even though they have quite a few gateways. Now where's that Oracle? Oracle managed to get 4 kills across the map here. None of them were workers, though, from what I can see. Or, oh no, there's actually 12 Zerglings killed, my mistake. Now this Oracle's poking around once again. One of these players likely looking after this Oracle specifically. Gonna kill off that creep tumor, deny the creep spread a bit. On a close map like this, creep spread is very important here, particularly when there's these sort of branches going out on the side of the map. If you have creep out here, then you'll know exactly what's coming to harass. But here, speaking of harassment, we have some adepts moving in, attacking the 3rd base here. However, there is already roaches already out, so purple team's just going to likely want to focus down as many drones as possible and then get out of there. The shade has already started. The adepts, though, moving in. A few of them are going to get picked off here. I believe about quite a few workers went down there, so very well done by purple team. However, there is always the possibility of a scary roach counterattack coming out of green as they're just massing on roaches. They're starting to get out Ravagers here, and there's really not a good army out for purple. They have a Robo just starting now. No upgrades. A Forge is just on the way. They're not starting a Void Ray. If they could sort of catch wind of this attack, a Void Ray would be their best bet. However, this attack of green team is coming in. It's going to hit now. These roaches don't have roach speed, so they are going to be fairly slow. The sentry could possibly force field these units off. However, there is just 1 sentry. 2 more just finish morphing in. We'll see how they decide to deal with this. Green team attacking in. Double photon overcharge going down, but there's also some corrosive piles going down. They get great connections with the army. Oracle coming in. Lots of energy on this Oracle right now, so it can actually pick off some of the Ravagers. Oracles are very good versus light units. However, they can deal damage to units like Ravagers and pick them off. Very cost efficient here. This Oracle is going to be out of energy in a second, though, but it managed to pick off the 3 Ravagers, sort of reducing the efficiency of this Roach army in a way. But the 3 gates unpowered for purple team. The Roaches pushing into the natural, trying to wall everything off. Some of the Roaches even burrow there, and there's no Observer out. Observer is just popping out of this robotics bay as it finishes, but now there's roaches absolutely everywhere in the natural. Decent probe count still, but the base of purple team definitely has been disrupted. However, Blink has finished for purple team. They did get that Twilight Council a while back, and Blink was their tech of choice here. 1 roach left in the main base. Some roaches trying to get some harassment in the natural base, well, at the 3rd base. And this 1 roach is going to burrow and try to wreak havoc on these probes. Manages to pick off 1 of Stalker's out to meet it, though, here. Will they burrow that roach in time to save its life for a little bit? Yes, they will, and it's going to go back and hide underneath the ground. So, now we have a 4th base on the way for green team. Oracle does scout this, but it can't do that much, as an Oracle can't quite exactly pick off a hatchery. We have Immortals on the way. Very important for purple team here, as we're still seeing roaches be the choice. Roaches and Hydras be the choice for green team, which Immortals are quite decent versus, particularly if Lurkers are on the way. Revelation going down here on the 4th base for green team here. So it seems that Cuddlebear and Hjax have their position quite decent right now. They are sort of on this, I guess, low tech in a way. They do have the Roach Burrow. They're starting to get that upgrade, so the Hydras move faster. But really, they aren't on the most scary tech in the world. Do they even have a lair? Yes, they have a lair. Silly me, you need that for a Hydra Den. So we now have more Immortals coming out. Blink allows the Stalkers to jockey for position here. But there's actually the 4th base locked down by this 1 burrowed Zergling, which is just delaying the 4th base of Team Purple, which is very effective. Very well done by green team. Now, green team, this creep spread very well right now. as they're almost across the map. They'll be coming up this ramp soon with that creep. They have a few queens at some of these bases. They could do with a few more tumors here, as if a tumor is picked off, it will recede a fair bit. It's just been a single tumor leaping across, but now it seems that we actually have purple team moving out. This isn't likely going to be for a full-on commitment here, maybe just jockeying for position or cleaning up creep, as attacking up this ramp is going to be nearly impossible. My creep says Hjax, very unfortunate for him. I guess he might have been assigned the role of spreading the creep. A few stalkers getting picked off there as they pick up the ramp. Nothing major going down. Now here's a choice which could be very effective for purple team. Disruptors on the way. That a unit which could be very utilized by Archon, as disruptors do need to be targeted here. But same side on green. They'll need to split very well, and their army is very Hydra heavy, so these disruptors will absolutely wreak havoc. Hydras are not the best unit for splitting here. Fourth base getting secured with a cannon here. Pylons are up. Army for purple team is sort of building up here. We see green team's completely maxed out, and now they're just getting absolutely every tech they can think of. A Spire on the way. Roach speed finally getting upgraded at the 11-minute mark, fairly late. Hive on the way. Lurker Den. Basically all the tech upgrades are on the way for purple green team. My mistake. So it's going to be a very late game here. We see an attack has come in for green team. They didn't exactly get that much done. I believe there was some good disruptor connections there. Mothership Core might get picked off if it's not careful, but it has already spent its photon overcharges to defend. Now the purple team's pushing forward. A disruptor shot gets an amazing hit. These other disruptors should have a shot ready in a couple of seconds here, and all these Hydras are seemingly going to be picked off, as Blinkstalk is very effective at producing. The Hydra's going to burrow to save themselves. Now there actually was a observer, but that was picked off to save the Hydras for a short period of time. Oh my gosh, but this is so clever of them, using those disruptors, even though they don't have detection, to pick off those burrowed Hydras. There are still a few alive, but that was a lot of kills on those disruptors. 15, and those were 15 expensive units. Those weren't Zerglings or anything. Those are very expensive units. And we even have more disruptors on the way for purple team. A very scary army. We have lurkers on the way, starting to morph for green team. They'll be able to sort of lock down positions here, and it sort of slows down engagements in this game once lurkers and disruptors sort of start doing their dance. Although purple team, usually when lurkers are on the way, the Protoss is just starting to build up a disruptor count, but purple already has a fairly high disruptor count right now, so these lurkers won't be the biggest obstacle for them. They might even be able to push forward and pick off the 5th base, as this game is going on a while. So the main base and natural are starting to mine out for these players, so they're going to be looking for more and more bases, and we actually see that. I believe that base was cancelled. Choosing another 5th base is the green team. Lurkers, though, locking down this position. As I said, beautiful spread on these lurkers. Disruptors are going to be able to pick them off, however, it's going to be a very small amount at a time here. So 1-1, shot, and now these Hydras and Lings are looking to possibly get on top of this army. If we look at the upgrades, it is 2-2 versus just +2 attack, so there is a bit of an upgrade for the Zerg player here. Players, I guess, as it is Archon mode. These Lings, though, moving in for a counterattack. A few cannons, an Immortal, and a Mothership Core. That sounds like the sort of start to a bad joke here, but no, it's actually just a defense. And now this is actually taking a very efficient fight. Those cannons and overcharges managed to pick up quite a few Lings here. An Observer does need to come out here, so purple team can deal with this Lurker, or at least the Disruptors need to get over here. Oh no, walking right over it. Okay, the Observer did get out. Purple team supply blocked. They're almost max, so it's not the end of the world, but they do need to throw up a few more pylons, and they are doing just that. But they might actually lose some of these pylons here, as Lings, Lurkers, and Hydras are pushing into the 4th base of Team Purple here. These Lurkers are just locking down this position. Blinkstalkers can get on top of these Lurkers, however, they're spread out so well, so they are definitely going to take damage, but great disruptor shots picking off a few of the Lurkers there. There's now actually only a couple left. Disruptors shots going down here, picking off the Hydras. Stalkers blink on top, the Lurkers are still there. I believe the Observer might have been picked off, so these few Lurkers are actually raining carnage. So many Hydras going down. 6, 5, and kills there. And once again, these are high-cost units here. Those Lurkers weren't killing something like Zealots. No, they're killing Stalkers, Sentries. Mainly Stalkers. Now, another Observer is out. But I gotta say, that's very well done by Green Team, picking off these Observers yet again so Burrow can be used very effectively. We actually really want to see more Observers coming out of Purple Team, so that can't happen. Now, on this side of the map, we've actually seen a transition coming out of Purple Team. Well, coming out of Green Team here, they lost all their Hydras, but they were prepared. They had the Greater Spire, they got their Hive, they're mined out in their main base, but that's not nearly as important as the tech they're getting here. Broodlords are already out. Blinkstalkers can deal with Broodlords here. However, it needs to be a very high amount, and they need to be able to get on top. Now, these Broodlords are supported by Lings, Lurkers, Queens. So Purple Team can't really take this fight. They're just going to have to evacuate here. Disruptor Shot's sort of trying to push the ground army away, but these Broodlords are chasing them. A great Disruptor Shot manages to hit 2 of the Queens there, but they just transfuse through it. And now the push is on, but we saw the fleet beacon go down a bit earlier here. I never actually mentioned that, but it's actually a very big deal as Tempest production has already started. Simply 2 Stargates right now for Purple Team, but as these come out, it allows the Protoss team to start working away on these Broodlords. The Corruptors can challenge the Tempest, so it'll be important for the Stalkers to protect them. It would actually also be very good to see a Templar Archives on the way for the Protoss team, as that's a good way to deal with the mass Corruptors. Probes transferring, but they're getting picked off. We see a beacon actually going down, as maybe these players weren't speaking and they were just anyway. So now we see a fourth. Yeah, they're communicating through beacons while these players showing each other. So now we see the Tempest pushing away these Broodlords here. However, the Corruptors and Queens can keep them alive, and now the 4th base is really being challenged. They have a 5th base, does the Protoss team, however, they're completely cut off. It's not like they can transfer probes all the way down over there. The Queens are getting on top of the Tempest, so are the Hydras. These Tempests sort of derping there, moving forward. Great Disruptor Shots going out. They're picking off some of the Queens. That's actually great for reducing the strength of these Broodlords. The Corruptors actually move forward too, and they all get picked off. So now the Tempest can start working away on these Broodlords. The Broodlords, as a matter of fact, are picking off all these Stalkers, but in the end, the Tempests are going to be able to clean this up. DTs are actually working away to try and kill off these Broodlings, and they actually helped out greatly in that fight right now. There is Observers as well. The Tempest cleaning up the Broodlords, so it seems that Purple has managed to hold this attack, and they actually take a 50 supply lead. A head-on Workers, a head-on army supply, and they have a very scary army. So many Disruptor Shots just decimating that Lurker. These Tempests do need to clean up these Broodlords, as these Broodlords are actually starting to pick off these high-tech units here, such as these Disruptors, Immortals. So many weak units here. The DTs and Immortals have just been killing the one Broodling as it lands. But ultimately, that attack was held off by the Green Team. The Green Team getting out some Lings, trying to go for a counterattack, but these are 2 players. It's a lot harder to catch 2 players off guard than 1, so very well done on the defense by Purple Team, managing to hold off there. And now, well, Purple's army isn't exactly the largest. They're left with this high-tech army, and I guess the macro for Green Team slipped a bit as they got those very early bases, so they mined out very early. Wow, they must have lost a 3rd hatchery to a run-by as well. They never got up that 5th base to the right. That must have been cancelled, and now this other base they have is gone. So really, Green Team's on a very poor income right now. If we look at the income chart, almost double is the Purple Team here. So Semper and Poizon in a very good position right now, building up this Tempest count, so air isn't really a viable choice for the Zerg anymore. Probes can transfer, but it seems that GG has been called, as the Green Team knows exactly what situation they're in. Hjax leaves the game, and I believe, says Cuddlebear, he might try to stick this out for a bit longer, maybe go for one last Hail Mary. But these players definitely having a good time, I guess, in this casual for fun Archon game. I guess Cuddlebear definitely does believe as he's starting to long distance mine here, but he's half the supply right now. It's now one player versus two. The lurkers are going to try to burrow to make something happen. There's actually no observer in sight. It's just coming forward now. Oh, there's actually another observer too. So one of these lurkers going down. There's now 3 lurkers and 8 hydras to fight off an absurdly huge Protoss army. It's simply not going to happen. These hydras are going down to the Tempest. And it seems that green team is... You like my micro? Yeah, these players were definitely just in this for the fun of it. But Archon game is very fun to watch. The play is usually a very high level, and it definitely was that game. So Semper and Poizon managed to take on Cuddlebear and Hjax. Like, normally in a game, I could say, oh, who's favored, who was more likely to win on this map. But really, it was just a bit of... It's hard to say who won, but it seems that Semper and Poizon came out in the lead. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. This has been my first 1 versus 1 Archon cast, I guess 2v2 in a way. If you guys enjoy it, let me know. I'll try to get more Archon games. This was just a replay I saw. I figured I'd cast it, and it definitely was worth it. So see you guys next time.